If you would, just tell us about being the judge and your perception of county society from that vantage point, if you can.
As you know, the office of magistrate is an outgrowth of the old justices of peace. And anyone who has practiced in the justice court would find plenty of grounds for one learned in the law to aspire to the bench, so to speak. Judge Spain was a fine man, and he's my firm friend, but he was a very poor lawyer. As a matter of fact, he hadn't tried any cases hardly. I think one or two is all that he'd ever tried. But he was a fair man and a just man. And he was magistrate here for 20 years. So when he thought that he couldn't carry on any further, he asked me to quit my private practice and go on to the bench. And I'll tell you, Bob, that it was quite a come down in salary. I'd made $20,000 or $25,000 in private practice the year before, and this paid $10,500 the time that I come onto the bench. But he wanted me to do it, and I'd served people of the county for years, and so I agreed that I would run for the office. Nobody else wanted it, and so I had it. And I was 79 years old when I come onto the bench. So I'd had a world of experience with people, and being the chairman of the ration board during the war, I had met everybody in the county, I think. Most of them had cussed me. They'd want sugar, or they'd want some favor, and I couldn't give it to them. And they were terribly disappointed in me, but having that experience and knowing the people, I thought that I could handle it, and did.
Has it been a difficult task, an enjoyable task?
I don't. It's been highly rewarding. The work on the bench has been highly rewarding. I had a pretty firm grounding in law of evidence, and that's the main bugaboo in trials, is know when you're right and what to do about it. We had Mr. Neal and Mr. Negard coming in here, and they hadn't had any experience in practice. So in a way, I witnessed both of them until they developed into good lawyers, good trial lawyers, both of them. And if they would ask a question that wasn't proper, I'd just say, now, Mr. So-and-so, that's not a proper question. And they'd rephrase it or strike it or something. So that they both developed into crackerjack trial lawyers. And now I'm helping the new prosecutor and the new magistrate judge. He'll be associate circuit judge when he takes the bench. But I want to see them be able to carry on the work, and they will be able to, because they're both bright young men. I've still got 6 weeks to work with them.
You mentioned that you thought knowing everybody in the county would help you a lot in being a judge. What is it like being a judge when you know everybody who comes before you?
Well, it's like this. In your own home, you've got to punish your children once in a while. And that is the feeling that you get when somebody comes that you've been a boon companion to in years past. but you know that you've got to punish him if he's guilty.
How do you think that's going to change when Heller and Lindsay get on?
Well, Lindsay was raised in this county, and he will be able to carry on because his people have been here ages, and he will be acquainted with everyone. And Heller has got a disposition that he'll get along with people.
Do you think it's going to make a difference to the people in the county to have somebody sitting on the bench that they don't know?
They'll probably be a little wary of him for a time.
Well, this was similar to the kind of question that I wanted to ask. It occurred to me that you might, sitting in this position, feel somewhat fatherly toward the county and toward the people that come before you. Is that correct? Or
that is correct. You have a paternal regard for the people in the county, all of them, because they come in, you know, and they call me boss. Even the kids 6 years up, old and up, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I recall that Mr. Neal was in an office in the courthouse, and somebody referred to me as boss, and he was horrified. He said, "His Honor." "Oh no," I said, we don't do that here. That they've always called me boss. I knew her father and her grandfather, and so that's out. And that's just the way that I've always acted toward people here, and it's paid off, I guess. Anyway, I've served my term out.
Is it difficult to be impartial sometimes when you know people that well?
No. If they misbehave, well, you judge them without thought to who they are. Now, I bound a boy over the other day when I told the prosecutor that he didn't have a case because I had been friendly with the family, and I didn't want it said to him that he got off because of friendship with the judge. And he'll have to face trial in circuit court, and I think they'll turn him loose. But you've got to judge, every case stands on its own feet.
Our children see on television and other places the statue of justice as a lady with the scale in her hand, blindfolded.
Yes.
Now, is justice really blind?
It is not.
Is justice really blind?
It is not, no. Justice is not blind. Justice is an understanding of human nature and applied agreeable to the laws of the land.
A lady came to me in Shannon County, some years ago now it's been, and a young man who was boyfriend of a girl who worked for her was arrested in Springfield for driving while drunk. Mm-hmm. And they were all just absolutely terrified, not because he was arrested DWI, but because it was away from home.
Uh-huh.
And they didn't know anybody. They didn't know the judge. They didn't know anybody. Now, is that an unusual thing for people in such a rural county as Shannon? Is home important because it's where you know the judge?
Well, it's not so important, of course, you know the judge, but you know the people. It is said, you know, that every dog will fight harder on his own dunghill. And that is true with people. They're familiar with the circumstances. It's a form of nostalgia, of course. And people are horrified when they get into trouble away from home, because they've got no one, none of the family are to console them or assist them in any way, and it's just a form of homesickness.
One person defined, to what extent is it true that Shannon County is a collection of families within a history?
I'm not sure that will apply. I think that it's better to say that Shannon County is a collection of families brought together by a love of their freedom of action, freedom of choice, and that the history of their forebears doesn't have much effect on them.
What about the land? How do you feel that the people, the families in this county, feel about their land, the country that's here?
Well, that gets back to the question that we had a moment ago. People are homesick for their land, and they have a regard for their birthright. I guess that's a good word. That is founded in nostalgia, because when they're whenever they are forced to move from their land where they were raised, they always want to go back there.